When death comes, which it will for all of us, what happens? Is it like switching off a light, or does something continue?
A really important question to ask is, does consciousness continue after death? You know, we don't understand consciousness. We don't understand when it is created and when it ends.
We tend to focus that consciousness is just the mind, and it's not. It's the whole body. Animals know this, right? Animals know all about body. Animals are much more intuitive about the future, I think, because of the body. The information involves the body, not just the mind.
The strongest case of the near-death experience I had during my research was patient 10. And when I interviewed this patient, he described leaving his body, and he described going through the ceiling. So he was higher than the ceiling, and it's as if the ceiling disappeared. And he looked down and he could see what we were doing to him.
It feels like we're given an opportunity to have one foot left here in our humanness and our human world. And we have one foot in wherever we're going to go. And I don't know where that is. And then when we're ready, we die. And I think that's incredibly loving.
Now, as physics has advanced, we see many ways in which we understand that our common sense way of experiencing the world is a very thin slice of physical reality.
It feels as though consciousness is the final frontier of science. What is it? Where is it? If I ask you to picture your childhood home, and now you're picturing it in all its glory, where is that image? It's not in your head. Where are these images held? Where is consciousness? How did you just bring that up? Where did it come from?
We don't normally think about death. That's just part of being human. We live day to day with all our hopes and dreams, obstacles and challenges, so busy with moving forward in our lives that death can feel very far away.
There's something missing in the healthcare system where we're sort of taking for granted that people know what's happening. I think we need to really work on somehow helping them navigate the healthcare system, because a lot of times it gets to like, well, what's next? And you're like, wait, what's next? I thought we knew that we were at the end.
The problem with dying in the hospital and being sick in the hospital is that they're monitors and no one can sleep. So when I saw people in the inpatient unit, the one thing I noticed was that they were sleep deprived. They were fluid overloaded and sleep deprived. And those two things interfere with dying more than anything. So what I notice is that people come into either go home or come into a hospice unit, and all of a sudden they can get the adequate sleep to face the journey, and they don't have too much fluid on board. Fluid affects circulation, it affects the gut, and it affects the lungs, so they can't breathe as well. You stop the fluid and all of a sudden the body has time to heal, actually, to move into death. So there's a tremendous amount of healing that happens. This part fascinates me. The body heals till the last breath. You know, and that's a big difference. The difference between healing and curing is how we talk about it, that conventional medicine's trying to cure, but when we're moving toward death, we need healing. Very different process, so you need a different team that can help you with the healing work instead of the curing.
I find that patients commonly will protect their family from the conversation and reality of death. But they have begun to negotiate with it from the moment they were diagnosed. And it's been the secret inner world that they've been wrestling with. And families protect the patient from the conversation about death because it's their greatest fear, and they don't dare speak it because it might give power to it or make it more real.
I think one of the most important things about how to talk to the dying is listening. So many dying people are so afraid to say anything because they're afraid that whoever they're talking will come back and say, oh, don't talk like that, or don't say that. Oh, but you'll be all right. Oh, have some supper. It's that kind of language to shut them up and go, well, we don't want to talk about that. And I think if you can just listen, just really open your ears and listen.
Just like summer moving into autumn, death is a process. So what is this process? What do the final months, weeks, and days look like for the person who is dying and the people who love them?
People are often scared of being with somebody who's dying because they don't know what to expect. They're most frightened of them in that moment of death. But actually, the moment of death is normally incredibly peaceful because their suffering is finished and they're not here anymore.
I think people are worried they're going to hasten the death by talking about it. I'm sure that's not true. We know that once you start talking about the death and dealing with the death, and getting people more comfortable, then they actually live a little longer. You know, stop all the crazy medications that are trying to buy them one more day and let them just be. The body knows exactly what it's doing. The mind and the ego don't know how to die, but the body knows exactly how to die.
Death isn't what we think it is. I think we as a culture and as clinicians are evolving in our understanding. It's far more mysterious. It's far more loving in a certain way. I use that loving term because there's something in the midst of this great loss that has, paradoxically, a gift of love and connection that invites us to experience ourselves and our relationship to life itself, including death, in ways that we are learning about.
I didn't know it was called a shared death experience until now. This gentleman is a great example of someone being willing to let us help and willing to talk about stuff and willing to come full circle with like where he's at in his death and dying journey. And he was amazing. And this one particular day I went, I could tell he's very close. This is going to happen like definitely sometime today. And I was outside of his house and I was thinking about him more. And as I was doing that, I feel like suddenly I heard his voice in my head, and I felt what he was feeling. It felt like it was like exuberance and the most beautiful freedom I ever could experience. And I was kind of shell-shocked in my car, like, what the heck just happened? Oh my gosh. And I was like sobbing. And my phone beeped from a text, and the nurse inside said, you know, so-and-so just died. And I was thinking like, I know, because he just showed me what happened.